Hey guys, James here with, we should have a name, but we don't, with the Andresen Family Turo Company. I just want to give you guys an update. We've had our second rental, and he rented it for 2 days initially, and then extended it 2 more days. It's out right now. So far, we've had the car for bought it, including the night we bought it, 8 days total, and it's been rented out for 4 days now, and it will be 5 days before the car gets returned. Additionally, we have it rented out for Christmas. We have it rented out the week before Christmas, and I was concerned, so I've made several Facebook videos, posts, and advertisements, and all of the two of our rentals. And then the one future rental we've had have all come from that Facebook advertising that we've been doing, which is great because Facebook advertising is easy. We go to the yard sale websites, the El Paso websites, Fort Bliss websites, and are just Facebook websites, and are just posting on those only. So it's been amazing that we've gotten so much back from that. We've made some mistakes, things we've learned from, and we love making mistakes because then we don't make them again, hopefully. So I'm going to talk about two things we did. One thing we did right, and one thing that we would not have done again. So one sustain and one change. The first thing that we did that was right on this last rental, we put 150 miles per day they get on the car. Everything above that is billed. I think we left it at the Turo standard, which was for our area 52 cents per mile. Now we looked it up. That's actually pretty close to the government rate, so that's not an outrageous number, and it's not price gouging. Again, we only get a percentage of that. Turo also takes a cut, so we don't get as much as you might think. So, excuse me. So some of the things that we did right on this one is when he got it, he referred to the ad that I had posted comparing my price to that of a traditional rental car company. Ours was less than half. And so he said, when he showed up, he said, well, hey, I'm only taking it for 2 days, but on your ad, it said that I would get this many miles. But that many miles was included because it was a week. So during that week, I think it was 1,000 miles included. Whereas in the 2 days he was taking it, he was only going to get 300 miles, and he needed more miles. So I said, well, let's do the math here, and I pulled up my calculator and said, if you go 100 miles over, that's going to be $50, which is the same price as what an extra day cost. So I asked him right then and there, are you going to, do you think you're going to use more than 100 miles? If you are, then you should just extend it out and then have the car for another couple days, which is fine for us. Another YouTuber, another Turo owner, extraordinaire, Maggie, she has her own YouTube channel. I'll make a link for it. She's amazing. She helped us get into our car and start this business as a business instead of just a side gig. But she has a video that she shared that you actually make more money if, if you think of it just from a completely selfish standpoint, if he went 100 miles over, let's just assume I get all of it, but that's $50 in my pocket, right? And so, and I get the car back. If he returns it on time, I get the car back. So then I can rent it out to somebody else. So from a completely selfish standpoint, I could have steered him towards going over on his mileage, but I believe this was the right thing to do, to let him see from the very beginning, because I don't need the car. It's going to sit in my garage and not get driven if I have it. So it's better for it to be out on the road, and I think that increases his time with the car. And because I took the time to discuss that with him, I hope, and we'll see if this pans out, that results in a good 5-star rating from him, and in future, maybe he'll come back and rent for me again, since I took the time to explain that to him instead of just not saying anything about it. So I think that's one good thing we did. He ended up extending it for 2 more days, which is more than double the amount of the first 2 days, because there was a trip modification fee, I believe. So I got a couple bucks off that. So that's a good thing we did. The bad thing we did All right. And if you're starting out from the very beginning and you want to make this successful, I would not do what we did, which was we looked at the market. We saw that there are no minivans in this area. There's none on Turo whatsoever. We're the only 7-passenger van at the moment, vehicle. And so we thought, well, we're going to fill this market, and everybody's going to come to us for their minivan needs, which is true, but I don't know how big of a need that is. And we took a considerable loan out, almost $20,000 loan, in order to get this vehicle. And the reason we did it, we liked that it had all the options. It's got heated steering wheel, heated front seats, heated back seats, DVD player, leather everything. It's the RT package, so it's got the nicer wheels and the nicer the backup camera and the Sirius radio, and the seats fold completely flat into the ground. We liked a lot of the things about this vehicle. But looking at it from a completely return on investment standpoint, $20,000 is a lot. It's going to take us some time to pay that back. We anticipate, we hope. I mean, we've had 2 rentals and we got a total of 5 bookings, so hard to say exactly. But we anticipate we're not going to get that thing completely paid off. If we reinvest everything back into it, we're not going to get it paid off until 3 years, is what we anticipate. Hopefully that's faster, but conservatively we believe 3 years. Just kind of what we've seen and what we hope that it continues before that gets paid off. Well, that's a long time, and I definitely recommend that you search out websites and groups. Facebook groups in particular I've learned so much from just reading posts on Facebook groups. Supposedly the Yaris is the magic car. No. But the MPV, another vehicle that I never would have thought about, that I've seen people's actual returns showing that they paid that off in 6 months. So everything above that is profit. Now you got a cash cow that keeps making you money, and at the end it's yours. So the $20,000 I think is good, and part of the reason we did it is we were unsure that this would work in the market. We were concerned about the market here in El Paso. It's an area that is kind of isolated, so in order to live here and work here, pretty much everybody has a car. So that was a concern that we had going into it. So we bought the minivan. We have a 2002 Honda Odyssey. It is a piece of junk. It looks bad. The paint is terrible on it. And we've had problems with it. It hasn't even been that great of a car since we've had it. So we've had some concerns with this vehicle. We probably wouldn't get it again. It's got 130,000 miles or so. And we bought this car to replace our 2005 Chrysler Town & Country that had 225,000 miles, and we hit a deer and totaled that car. Otherwise, we'd still be driving it. So we thought that worst case scenario, this whole Turo thing doesn't pan out, then at least we have a car that we can drive. We got 5 kids, so that was the mentality of why we bought it. If I were to start over and do this all again, I would have, instead of focusing on the features and trying to upsell people into getting into our car, I would have gone for a more basic. I would have gone for something, instead of being 2 years old, I would have gone for something maybe 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I think if you're doing this from a business standpoint, that's probably your safest option. It lowers your risk from the beginning and increases your profits on the backside. The only exception to that would be maybe Tesla. If you have a fancy car and you want that car and you like that car, and you're in a place that has the infrastructure for an electric vehicle, then that's probably a good way to go. I did look at the Tesla, but this is not the right market for it at all. So again, kind of to recap, good thing, be upfront with your renters, talk to them about exactly what you're doing, what's good, what's bad. Tell them straight up, these are the fees. And then on the backside, if they don't come through and you have to end up charging, then you have it documented saying, hey, I did tell them this and they didn't respond. So I feel that's the best way to do it, is just be honest up front, completely honest with everybody that you come across, and that things work out better when you do that. The other thing is, if you're starting this and you just want to make money and you're going to go out and buy a car just for Turo, go low. I mean, go. If we had bought a $5,000 car instead of a $20,000 car, I think we probably would have paid it off just as fast. So unless you're buying a car that you know there's a hot market for and people are going to have a high demand to be driving it, I wouldn't go that high that early. I would start kind of lower, and I don't think we're going to be hurting. I think that this van is going to take care of itself, and so at the end of it, we're going to have a very nice vehicle in just a few short years that we'll be able to continue to profit off of or sell and get something else. But that would be my advice. If you're looking at starting this off and you don't want to pay cash for it, then start low. And hey, so far this ride's been great. It's so refreshing, rewarding. It feels so great when you get that text message or that alert on your phone, the notification saying that so-and-so has booked your car. And we have instant book, so it just comes up and says, so-and-so has booked your car. And that has been amazing. So hang in there. Again, shout out to Maggie for kind of helping us on this adventure. We appreciate her videos, and I'll definitely refer you to her. She's got much more experience, more vehicles, and more success than I have. But this is a neat opportunity, and I highly recommend it. And you too can. What's something people say at the end of like videos when they sign off, right? They got a catchphrase. Excelsior. Yeah. Thanks, guys.